listening to Second Wind with Joyce Buford, where women who are ready to expand their life adventure discover the tools to stop playing small and tap into the courage required to enjoy their second wind. Welcome.
Good morning, all you beautiful people out there. I've been looking forward to talking with you today because I think you're going to really take this information that our guest, Kelly Lutman. Kelly, how did I do? Lutman. Oh, and we spent so much time talking about this. I warned her. But anyway, Kelly Lutman. Now, let me tell you a little bit about her. She has been fascinated by the power of food ever since she helped resolve her son's ADHD simply by changing his diet. Kelly is a health coach, certified health coach in applied functional medicine. Kelly firmly believes that symptoms of the body cries for help and that the body can heal when providing the building blocks it needs. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I love the opportunity to talk about the power of healing in the body.
Well, you know, as I looked at that, ADHD is so big in our society now. It is huge. My daughter has it, suffers with it. And I was going, I wonder if I buy your book, your wonderful new book, if she can help her. She's an adult and she kind of resists. So, it is so big, but you've tackled two big topics here with your moving on to cancer.
Right.
And so I have to say or ask, why would you leave one for the other? They're both important.
Well, to be honest, my practice wasn't really focused on ADHD. That's what prompted me into, wow, if just changing our food could change this, what else can it do? And it led me into training as a health coach and then in functional medicine. And I did work with many clients on anxiety and depression and some ADHD, but just general overall type 2 diabetes, IBS, the chronic diseases that are so common these days. But the cancer was prompted because I have supported several patients through their cancer treatment journey. I've supported them on the side as a health coach. And I got an email from a good friend of mine last spring who I knew was in her cancer treatment for breast cancer. And her email said, Kelly, I have a binder almost 2 inches thick of all my protocol details. And all it says for nutrition is drink Ensure and Carnation Instant Breakfast. And that immediately made me squirm. But as I read on in the email, she said, I've known you long enough to know there's so much more, and I need you on my team. I need you to help me with this. And so I did coach her, and she did amazingly. Now, admitted there were still up and down days. There were days that she sent an SOS. I need a little extra today. What can you do to help me? But overall, she did so much better than many of the other friends I've known going through cancer that did not ask for my help.
Yeah.
And I really felt this just sparked a flame in me that I needed to help more. There are 1.9 million people diagnosed with cancer every year. And maybe it's going up this year, I don't know. But how many of them are being told, I know a lot of them are being told, eat candy, drink milkshakes, keep your weight up for the treatment. But that's working against them overall. And I just needed to put this book together to share the possibilities, to share empower them more than anything.
Yeah. So the name of your book is what?
Is Thriving Through Cancer, a holistic approach for your journey. And it's spelled WHOLE-istic because I talk to the whole person, body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah. As I shared with you earlier, I did have that experience of going through cancer, breast cancer, and went to MD Anderson after rejecting my local doctors in Tyler, because I just wanted to keep my breast. I didn't want to lose it. And so they say, oh, sure, you can keep your breast. So that was a big factor for me. But I do totally, you share in some of your notes that you sent me how the cancer patient goes into almost a daze because we're so stunned by the process. And we just move from one doctor, as you said in your notes, to another, to another, to another. And we totally forget that we have any decisions. We don't. They don't give us any.
Right.
They don't say,
Be
would you
here
like this?
at this time and tomorrow at this time. Yeah. You just immediately, it's like being thrown into floodwaters and you're being rushed down the river and you're like, you know, grabbing for whatever you might be able to hold on to. But often it's that daze, it's the fear factor. There's so many things going on that often can stun and leave you not knowing what other options are. And I want to provide some other options.
Well, it's amazing to me that the food can really affect you. I know that sounds silly because food is what we live off of. It's our nourishment. But, you know, I can get rid of the sugar with some struggling here, but I can get rid of that. But you're really promoting much more of a whole food approach.
Yes.
Right.
Primarily because your body is designed to recognize natural things, not man-made things. And so much of our food these days, or I call it food-like substance, is found in a box. Maybe it started with nature, but it's been so heavily processed and depleted. And then they add in, you know, when they make bread, they grind the flour and they take out a lot of the natural nutrients. And but then they fortify it with seven nutrients, but you lost 42 and you're only getting 7. We're a little behind there. And so just the idea of bringing it to as natural as possible so that it's got the most nutrient value for you. The colors of the produce you see in the produce section of the grocery store represent different nutrients. And so I encourage my clients to eat the colors of the rainbow. It's visually stimulating. It's visually satisfying to see it, a fruit salad that's all variety of colors. Or for me, a tray of roasted vegetables that covers all the gamut of the colors that are possible. It's enticing. But so much of our food today, the most color is on the packaging, not on the food, not in the food itself.
Right.
And so it's not representing all the nutrient value that is what your body runs on. It's either building block or it's the fuel to run different enzymatic, you know, physiological systems that need to be functioning. And my book is targeted at the 95, 98% of your body that isn't malignant, that doesn't have cancer. It's going through treatment too. And while those cells would be considered healthy cells, after the effect of treatment, they will be depleted. And you can choose with your food to support those cells to maximize their resilience.
Well, I do want to point out to my listeners that you just released this book.
Yes.
And how well is it doing?
Amazingly. Of course, on launch day, we hit bestseller in 3 different categories. But I have had so many people say excited about the book, excited for the answers and the guidance and the hope and empowerment that it provides. And my goal is to put it in many, many hands. Excuse me. And for some that I talk to that say, I don't know anyone with cancer, see, that's fine. You could get the book for yourself, and 75% of the content is applicable to everybody. Read it for yourself and learn, but then you've got that copy available to hand, to gift to someone that you hear is diagnosed. It's a win-win. You can benefit for yourself, but you can also share it as a gift to benefit someone else.
Yeah. I noticed that you do you refer to chemo in here? Yes, that's your freebie on your website.
Right.
32 chemo. But that you do not focus in your book, or do you, on chemo relief?
I do provide a toolbox, basically your chemo toolbox for tolerance, just 3 or 4 tips for how to help your body through the process, because it's an assault.
Yeah,
You've experienced that. So
yeah, I didn't have to do chemo. I had to do radiation.
okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know
and
why.
even radiation is hard on the body.
Yeah. Certainly is. It burns. So anyway, but I do have a neighbor. I can see her house from right now. I'm looking at it. She's going through chemo. And so one more book. I'll take it to her once I get it. Yes,
for
sure.
her. That's a gift. And you can tell her, open up with that first, look for the chapter on chemo toolbox, because that will give her some starting places, but then go back to the beginning and work through it.
So you work with patients that are going through cancer as coach.
Yes.
And
yes,
so
I can come alongside them as they're going through the process.
Right. Now, how do they call you if there's a listener out there that is going through her treatment and needs your help?
The best way would be to go to my website, which is pursuewellnessforyou.com, and schedule a strategy call. And that's an opportunity to talk for 30 minutes to see what your situation is and talk about how I can support. Sometimes I'm a fit and sometimes I'm not a fit for someone. But we can always start with a phone call.
Yeah. Why would you not be a fit?
First of all, I wouldn't be a fit if someone wants a different outcome, but they're not willing to make a change.
Oh, yes. Okay. Follow the rules. Or follow
if you want to keep going the way you're going, but get different results, you're going to hit a wall. And so being open to entertaining opportunities and changes, but also being open to my suggestions, not necessarily being what your doctor would say, because I'm trained in different aspects than the doctor is. And often, I so appreciate the professionalism and the training of our medical doctors, that they're totally focused on the cancer.
Yes.
And they're not trained in supporting the body for wellness. And so I may suggest some things, and always they are open to talk to their doctor, but be prepared that if the doctor doesn't understand it, more likely they'll say no, rather than I'll figure it out or I'll learn and explore it before I answer it, because they're so in demand. So being open to some different options would be another reason for fitting or not fitting.
I found in that journey that you really do have to take the responsibility of your illness.
Yes.
And you do need to say no if it really doesn't agree with you, if you don't like the answers they've given you. So you do this in your book, and I like that you prepare and give them the option and the knowledge that
Mhm.
don't forget, it's your cancer, and they may have a lot of the answers, but you had the ultimate yes or no.
More than anything, it's your body.
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't really want to claim my cancer and keep it that way. It's temporarily here, but it's your body
Good point.
and your responsibility for the information you're putting into it and the way you're supporting it. And we really have to think in terms of food as information.
Mhm,
And your thoughts are information.
mhm,
Where are your thoughts dwelling? Where are you, are you just stewing on the fear and the what ifs and the oh no's? That's going to bring you down. In fact, that actually has been shown in scientific studies to suppress the immune system.
mhm.
Not working for you there. So I have several chapters talking about how you can work through the fear, how you can work through the emotions that are naturally a part of this process, this journey, to help to bring it back around and incorporate your mind as part of your support system instead of working to deflate you.
Right. That's very important. It really is. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to add too much of my journey.
Sure.
So, but I never thought it was so little. I never thought it was a major. It was like I kind of played at having cancer, which is crazy. You can't. You have it or you don't.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I never thought of it as winning or as taking my body. Now, it did
Good.
affect my body, but that was the one thing I shared with my neighbor when I first heard, is that the mindset is so important
Yes.
in dealing with the cancer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I get it, because you're so afraid and we just kind of let it go, but we can't stay there. We have to regain our own belief that we're moving through this. It's just an uncomfortable experience. So, what do your listeners like to tell you or don't tell you about cancer when they talk to you?
Often they're frustrated, definitely frustrated in feeling like they've lost control, or frustrated in the mixed messages they're getting. Where one of my clients was saying, I met with the nutritionist, and whenever someone meets with a nutritionist, I'm very interested in what they're told. I have been shocked to know how many met with a nutritionist who gave them several books to read. And I thought, oh, instead of just explaining it to you and guiding you through it, they gave you books to read. And so I would ask them, okay, did you read the books? And inevitably the answer was no. I was not in a mindset. I was not in a place where I could read. And of course, then I thought, and I'm going to write a book for you to read. How's that going to work? So my response there was, along with the book, I have created a web book portal that they can access through a QR code in the book that gives them 10 of the chapters in video form. So that if they're struggling with the comprehension, if they're struggling with reading and understanding, they can watch the video and listen to me telling them the chapter, to me giving them the content. It's not the whole book. There's still, it's less than half of the book, but I picked the 10 chapters that I felt were the most important.
Well, that's a great
That will
idea.
give them a start.
Yeah.
And then also on the book portal, they have recipes, they've got resources for other support for other team members. Maybe they need some support with just getting the monkey mind to settle down, and they could reach out to an EFT practitioner or different other modalities that I offer some recommendations of. You often need to think in terms of, what do I need on my team?
Right.
Not just the medical team, but what else do I need on my support team?
Mhm.
And that could be a health coach, or it could be a practitioner to help you process through some of the mind issues,
Yeah.
games that are going on in your head.
Right.
Just thinking beyond just the medical people that you know, but
Mhm.
looking at who do you need to make this
Mhm.
better for you.
Well, I could sort of had the same feeling about that nutritionist when she
Mhm.
shared with me, because they see so many people, they must reel off that conversation at least 6 to 7 times a day.
Right. Right.
And it almost gets to be just automatic. And they
Mhm.
don't really take the person into account. And I'm sure you do through your coaching,
Definitely.
that
Definitely.
you would know you're talking to a woman that's very concerned, very nervous, or very doubtful, or so many other things you could describe her, but you realize and you're sympathetic to the plight that she's in.
Exactly. I want to know who that person is. I
Mhm.
want to know what's their setting, what's their
Mhm.
support system at home, what are the demands of their treatment, and then we look at what's their body needing, what's been their practice for their food, and what
Mhm.
can we begin to shift. I don't expect an immediate total changeover.
Right.
Sometimes, there's things that you're really attached to, and then what I will do is encourage adding in some better foods to kind of crowd the old stuff out,
Mhm.
instead of just trade over, because it's
Mhm.
really hard to let go of some things right away. Too
Right.
much transition, too much change can hinder sustainability.
Mhm.
And
But
so I
how
come alongside just to be their support and guidance and educating. I
Mhm.
always explain why we need
Mhm.
this, why this is important, what's going on in the body that needs this support that I'm recommending.
Mm. So is this book also a good book if I think we all grow up with poor eating habits
Mm-hmm.
unless we're really focused at food. And so does this book help the person become aware of the importance of food? And
Yes.
can it work as a preventative?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. That's where I was saying,
Mm.
if someone bought the book and worked on it for themselves and then had it to share with a cancer patient, it can support the caregiver. It can support someone who doesn't have cancer, but
Mhm.
certainly wants to avoid it.
Right.
Um, there's certain chapters that you're going to leave out. You don't need to worry about the chemo toolbox. Um,
Oh, okay. Okay.
but there's still a lot of content that will benefit everyone. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, it sounds like a great tool to have for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
anybody, those
Mm-hmm.
that are experiencing cancer or not. Um, that would really be a great gift for somebody.
And the body is tremendously resilient when you begin to change things. And a lot of times people come to me and say, here we are. I'm a grandmother. I'm at that age where my friends are saying, it sucks to get old.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, it's like, but wait a minute, it doesn't have to, because a lot of times the symptoms that we think are just getting old, and sometimes our doctors actually tell us, well, you are getting older.
Oh,
Um,
indeed.
that doesn't mean it needs to be there.
Right.
You can support your body to do so much more. And little things that come in nagging, we just learn to tolerate them. But I'm always paying attention to what are the symptoms you have?
Mm.
What are, how well do you wake up in the morning? Or are you one that says, don't talk to me until I've had 2 cups of coffee? That's a low cortisol awakening response. And we need to look
Mm.
at what are your adrenals doing and what can we support to get it in a better place so
Mhm.
that you've got the energy to do what you want to do. My
Right.
goal in my health is to be able to keep up with my 8 grandkids, which the older they get and the busier they get, the harder it is.
Yes. And not at all at once, I do hope not.
Well, not all of them, but they all live in the area. So there are times we do get together and it is chaos and delight all at once.
I know. Now, do you only work with cancer patients?
No, I work with a wide range. I help people reverse type 2 diabetes. We've reversed IBS. I had one client that had IBS for over 50 years. And in 2 months' time, we reversed it and wiped it out so that it was not an issue. She's actually currently traveling in Europe for a month, and she would never have done that when she had IBS.
What's IBS?
Irritable bowel syndrome, where you have
yes.
very erratic
Yes.
elimination. It's a real struggle. She always had to travel with an emergency bag in case she had an accident. There's just so much challenge in that. You don't have your life on your own. And doctors are not really equipped to help to solve it. They can kind of manage it, but not solve it. And
through diet, you could correct it?
Through diet and evaluating the microbiome in the gut and filling in what is missing is the key for that. Yeah.
You know, I read so much that says it's all in the gut. Are you of that same mind?
In general, functional medicine says all disease begins in the gut, because when you think about it, that's when the majority of the outside stuff comes in. And if it's working well, if it's well digested, and actually it all starts with digestion as to what goes into the gut and works well. One of the things I teach my clients is chewing is so important. It's the only part of digestion you get to control. And how often do we chomp, chomp, swallow? That's not chewing. That's not really preparing food for digestion. And so we laugh a lot, when we do practicing with the chewing, and, nope, don't swallow yet, pretend it's chewing gum, and you slide your food into your cheek and swallow the excess saliva and then bring it back and chew a little bit more. Yeah, it can be, it's one of the things that my clients say, whoa, I never realized how much that could make a difference.
Right.
But it's key. And then just looking at how are the digestive processes working for you? Do you have a gallbladder? If you do not have a gallbladder, your body struggles with digesting fat. And side note is, if you do not have a gallbladder, you should not be trying to do the keto diet, because it's much higher in fat, and your body can't properly digest it without a lot of excess support. So, it's one that I wish more that you see keto as, it's the answer. And for many cancer patients, it's recommended because it reduces the sugar in your diet, so that your body is not feeding the cancer so much. But if you do not have a gallbladder, it's not recommended, or it shouldn't be recommended.
Okay, I don't know if this applies or not, but so many women, as they age, they struggle with the belly fat. Is that because of digestion?
The belly fat is usually hormonal. It could be adrenals, it could be thyroid. I often am exploring with my clients what is your thyroid doing, because we are so underdiagnosed in thyroid issues. Right. And many times it's things in our environment that are hindering our thyroid. You've got chlorine in the water, you've got fluoride in the water, you've got bromine in our baked goods, and all of those are halide chemicals, or halides, and they limit your body's ability to get iodine in the cells, which is important for thyroid function. So if you've got 3 different substances that are pushing into the cell receptors and filling the space so that iodine can't get in there, your thyroid is not going to have what it needs as building blocks to be able to function as well. and we can make changes in the environment to support better function.
Well, goodness, you are a walking book of good information.
I'm
Just
so
amazing.
glad.
Yes, you are. But the first thing that my listeners can do is buy your book,
Yes.
whether they have cancer or not, and just get a little more familiar with how their body functions and the importance of the book. So they go to Amazon, I would assume. Everything's
Actually, the easiest way to get to the book, you can search it on Amazon, but you can go to kellylutman.com, KELLYLUTMAN.com, and there's a button on there that will take them straight to the book listing.
Oh, good.
So it's quick and easy.
Yes. And then if they wanted this wonderful tool, you also have, for the 3 tools of chemo relief, you also have that on a website. And that is, would you say that? Bit?
Oh, it's a shortened link, https :/bit.ly/chemo toolbox.
But you said that was in the book. Did you not?
That information is in the book. So if you buy the book, you can definitely find that and
get
more.
that information. Well, Kelly, I don't want to turn loose of you. There's so much more information we need. But I think the time is such that we must say goodbye. Now, I think you were told about my word for this year, which is joy.
Yes.
And I took that from a Julia Cameron, Never Too Late to Begin Again. That was a book, an awesome book. And so I love to start with, I have 2 questions. The first one is, can you share with us a moment that you, when I say joy, your mind automatically goes to it, because we remember those joyful moments because they're so powerful.
Oh, yes.
So would you share with us that?
Well, I've already alluded to it a little bit. It would be gathering with family. And when we get our family together, 8 grandkids and 8 adults, it's kind of a packed environment. But one of the things I love to do is to just sit back kind of in the background and just watching the grandkids. I love that all of my grandkids are excited about being with their cousins. And they play together wonderfully. And so they're excited to be playing together. And then my sons and my daughters-in-law are interacting and talking and having their conversations. My husband is usually on the floor with the kids playing, and because he is a very popular grandpa.
Yes.
And it feels warm and overflowing for me. It's joyful.
Good answer. Yeah. I remember those from my childhood when we'd all gather with the family.
Yeah.
There is a wonderful feeling. Cousins, we get. But anyway, all right. What would be 3 words or suggestions that you would give somebody if they cannot recall a joyful moment? They're struggling with, what would that be? What would be some helpful tools for them to start thinking about?
This is something I actually coach my clients in, is what brings you joy? How do you put joy into your day? And so many women are thinking of everybody else first, and they take what's last.
Yeah.
And I equate it to the airplane safety briefing. When the oxygen mask drops down, what do they tell you to do? Put your mask on first before you help someone else. And so I help my clients see if they haven't filled their cup with joy, they won't have anything to pour out to others.
Right.
And so prioritizing filling your cup doesn't have to be a long extended session, but what are the things that you can fill your cup with? And that's going to be individual. Maybe it's getting away by yourself and just sitting in a quiet place with your eyes closed and just breathing. That may energize and fill your cup. Maybe it's watching something creative on a YouTube video, or maybe it's watching a funny thing on YouTube and laughing. You might just need to laugh out loud, but learning to listen to your heart and then speaking up for what you need and prioritizing what you need. Because even in the process of a cancer treatment, you've got to maximize what your body needs, minimize what's working against it that you can, but you also have to prioritize an environment for healing for that individual. And so prioritizing that piece of joy each day is also that environment for healing.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? We women always think of others first, but yet it's so detrimental to us.
Yeah.
know,
And I think too often women think, when I talk about prioritizing yourself, oh, that seems selfish, and we've been told, maybe we've been programmed in our culture that it's selfish to expect something for you. But I'm on a mission to try to help my clients see that if you only do for others, eventually your body's going to break down and you're not going to be able to do for the people you love. So you need to love yourself too and support yourself in healing, in strengthening, in finding that joy.
Yeah. I so agree. Very good. Thank you, Kelly.
You are welcome.
I'm going to say goodbye to my listeners. And so if you would, please just hang on.
Sure.
And then you and I will close after I say goodbye to them. So, dear listeners, what did you pick up today? How many things did you add to your list? Well, the one that I think is the top one would be buying the book. There, after you read the book, maybe you want to call Kelly and discuss and have some discussion time with her. But it's very important, if you don't have cancer, that you could read the book and it could help you prevent having cancer. Just to have the body balanced and using those things that maybe mother didn't instill in us to cook and have on the table. So anyway, I'm encouraging you to do your own health today. You can reach out to your friend, but I really think it starts with you. So buy the book. You can go to kellylutman.com and there you will get her book. Lutman. So there you can buy the book and it'll be sent to you quickly. So anyway, thank you for being here today. I appreciate every week that I know you're out there listening. It's very important to me that I at least add some value to your day. And Kelly and I have tried. And we've done a really good job. So anyway, I look forward to next week. Please say you'll be here. And I will certainly be here waiting to give you more good words for your wisdom. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Joyce Buford returns next week at the same time for another edition of Second Wind. Through the Joyce Buford Empowerment System, women are receiving the support they need through their transitions and are able to reclaim their true purpose with confidence. They receive the tools they need to map out new lives. You can find out more about her coaching services at joycebufordempowers.com.